So I never intended to quit drinking when I went on the Sinclair Method. I was personally just really excited that there was a treatment that existed that could actually help me drink less and be more of a moderate drinker. And so I did this protocol for a year, and over the course of that year, I just saw my drinking gradually reduce. I was having more and more control when I drank, and I was honestly just spending most of my time alcohol free and drinking like once or twice a month. And what was happening for me through this time is that the longer I was on naltrexone and following the protocol, it seemed like the less interest I had in alcohol. Like it was easier for me not to drink than to drink, which was a stark contrast before this treatment where even one alcohol-free day in a month was really hard and something I had to white knuckle to do, and usually only happened if I was like super hungover or super guilt-ridden from like what I did or said the night before. But the magic of naltrexone over time is that it feels like it reverses the alcohol addiction in the brain. Like the perspective I had on alcohol completely changed over the course of the year that I was on this treatment. So before this treatment, I loved alcohol. I wanted to drink every free moment. I didn't care if I was drinking wine, beer, vodka, as long as it had alcohol in it, I was down to drink it. Like I said, one alcohol-free day was usually really hard and not something I did, and any moment I had free, I wanted to be drinking. And if I wasn't drinking, I was constantly thinking about drinking, like looking forward to it, romanticizing it, planning it, and just obsessing on it, honestly. Alcohol was honestly like the most important thing in my life where like I struggled with my drinking for years, and I would honestly all the time think about quitting and I tried to quit so many times, but I was always like thinking about quitting, but the thought of never drinking again just seemed like a boring gray reality and wasn't something that I wanted to do because alcohol was a daily part of my life for so long and I genuinely loved it. Yes, it came with its consequences and had negative effects, of course, but it was such a huge part of my life and something that brought me happiness and joy. And when I look back on it, it was honestly like my purpose or my main hobby because it was how I spent all of my free time. So again, when I learned about the Sinclair Method and I learned that this treatment could help me drink less as opposed to quit, I was really, really excited. I was in disbelief. It seemed too good to be true, but I knew I had to try it. And so I started on this treatment as a daily drinker, very, very heavy drinker, and just gradually reduced over the course of a year. And to my surprise, after about a year on this treatment, I ended up quitting drinking. And I say I did it by accident because I never set out to quit drinking. What happened for me is after about a year on the treatment, I was so uninterested in alcohol. Like it was effortless for me to not drink. And so I would go a month without drinking, and then I'd, go out to an Italian dinner and I think I'm going to have a, glass of wine tonight. I'll take my naltrexone and have a wine. But I could only usually have that one glass. The thought of having another one sounded gross. And then I wouldn't drink again for like a month. This was like the last few months I was on the treatment. So it became very effortless to not drink because my craving for alcohol was completely gone. Like it feels like my brain was restored back to the place it was in before I ever had the alcohol addiction, where alcohol just wasn't a thought in my mind. I just didn't care about it. My perspective completely changed with regards to how I saw alcohol. And so what happened for me is I would go a month without drinking, and that month turned into 2, 3, and 4. And honestly, it went by like that. When I tried to quit drinking before the Sinclair Method, it was white knuckled. It was one day at a time. It was me resisting this urge to drink and think, just don't drink today. Like so difficult. And I would always give into it. I would always give into the urge to drink. But with the Sinclair Method, it was completely different. Again, like I said, I just went 4 months without drinking. It wasn't hard. I wasn't trying not to drink. It just was natural to me. Just like how I really don't like raw oysters, so I don't have to try to not eat raw oysters. I just don't like them, so I just don't have them. And so after 4 months of being alcohol-free through this treatment, I was like, do I still want to drink? Like, I don't know if I really want to drink anymore because I can't imagine a time in the future when I'll want to drink. Like, I just went 4 months without it and I haven't been tempted at all. And so at that point in time, I was like, maybe I'll just try being alcohol-free for a while. And that was in 2018. So I'm going on filming this video, I'm going on like almost 7 years alcohol-free. And it's not something I miss. It's not something I want to do or wish I could do. In fact, because of the Sinclair method, if I wanted to drink tonight, I would just take naltrexone beforehand and I would drink, and I would probably have one, maybe two drinks and wouldn't go overboard. So the truth is I can drink anytime I want to. I can drink as much as I want to. What's wild is that I just don't want to. And that's what makes this treatment so incredibly unique and revolutionary and unbelievable and too good to be true. Because for so long, those of us who've struggled with alcohol, we just believe if we can't control our drinking, then the only option is to abstain forever and never touch alcohol again. And to those of us who have struggled with alcohol, or even people who don't struggle with alcohol, like the thought of never having a drink ever again, never having wine with dinner or champagne at a wedding or beer on a hot day, that just sounds really depressing, if I'm going to be honest, to a lot of people. And so the fact that there is a treatment that has decades of research behind it that can actually help you reduce your drinking and have the option to drink if and when you want to without having to quit forever. And it actually works. Like, there's decades of research behind it showing that it works. There's tons of anecdotal stories showing that it works. It's truly life-changing for people. And that's why I've been such an advocate for this treatment, because when I first learned about it, I was like, this is too good to be true. There's no way something like this exists. Like, I had been struggling with my drinking for years and had never heard of something like this. So at first I thought it was too good to be true. But then when I started it, I was in disbelief. Like, in the first month of the treatment, I was like, I can tell this is changing my life. Like, it wasn't instant, but there were these changes that were significant enough for me to know, oh my gosh, this treatment is actually working. And so if you or someone you know or love is struggling with your drinking, I want you to understand that abstinence isn't the only option. And there are treatments that actually have a lot of research behind it showing that you can actually drink less over time, even if you haven't had control before, because this treatment works to address the root issue of excessive drinking, which is in the brain. Because when we develop alcohol use disorder, it changes our brain, and our brain really starts to crave and look for that reward from alcohol, almost thinking it needs it for survival. And so this treatment works to reverse those brain changes that drive alcohol addiction. It completely eliminates the craving for alcohol over time, and it makes it really easy over time to have control again over alcohol. You can learn more about it with my other videos or check out the link in my profile.